Discussing travel requirements in a post-COVID era, Virtual Spanish Travel Show presents an insightful panel discussion.
Good morning, friends. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you today. You know what's happening in the world. This COVID pandemic has really struck all of us, the whole world, in a very, very difficult time. Uh, it's like what I call it's like a world war, because this pandemic is everywhere in the world and every country in the world is trying to save its nationals. So that's what they're basically trying to do. Because of this, a lot of industries have been affected because of the close down, and a lot of people can't come to work. So a lot of industries are taking a hit. And we all in the travel and tourism industry, we have taken a very, very big hit. And I can safely say we are down on our knees at the moment. Talk about the airlines, talk about the hotels, talk about the travel agencies. Everything is really taking a big beating. We all actually trying to look at the crystal ball and gaze on it and figure out when this thing will be over. Uh, but now, what I can safely say is we are seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, because we keep hearing about vaccines and the ones they're coming out. So at least that is a good sign what's going to happen. Because of this, there are lots of new normals which have come into place, a lot of new ways of doing business. And these ways, as I look at it, are here to stay. They are not going to go away, because it's going to take time. So I think every organization, whatever new ways of doing business, or the new normals as they call them, are here going to become a permanent normal for every one of us. So one of these normals is what Spain is doing today. In fact, the sheer fact that they are doing this virtual show is something which is amazing, and that is what we are all here for. So friends, I would like to welcome all of you for the first edition of the Virtual Spanish Travel Show, a new concept in the new normal. The show hopes to connect you with the friends in Spain and discuss business ties. That's what we're trying to do. So they are going to keep, everyone is trying to keep in Spain, keep it alive in all your minds. Today, I'm joined by my colleagues from the outbound travel industry in Sri Lanka. Through their opinion, we will better understand the travel patterns in Sri Lanka and understand how we can make Spain an interesting proposition in this market. Today, I have two very senior ladies, and I will just mention to you. When I mention your name, if you can just wave off, that will be just wonderful. First, I have is Zaharine Hameen. Thank you. And the other person I have is Charmaine Pereira. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to request each one, both of them, to introduce yourself. So, but first I must tell you that Zareen is Hameen is the general manager marketing at Engton Spence Travels Sri Lanka. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I don't, I leave it totally to you. So, Zareen, why don't you say a few words about yourself?
So I'll begin with Iboan and welcome. I'm Saharine Hameen of Aitken Spence Travels, the General Manager Marketing. I've been with the company, the travel industry, for 6+ years, and prior to the pandemic, we've had a wonderful run, but let's discuss about life after the pandemic in this discussion.
Thank you so much. And now I'd like to also introduce once again Charmaine Pereira. She's the senior manager at Jetwing Holidays Sri Lanka. Charmaine, welcome. And why don't you introduce yourself and say a few words, please?
Thank you, Sanjay. I'm Charmaine, and I'm the senior manager for Jetwing Holidays. Jetwing Group is a well-renowned brand in Sri Lanka. We are quite diverse company when it comes to hospitality. At the moment, we are, of course, waiting for a positive outcome from COVID, and hopefully that we can start our usual work and helping people see the world.
Thank you, Charmaine. Thank you very much. My first question, before actually come to the first question to both of you, let me start with since you came in earlier, Zarin. what can you tell us? What is the travel and tourism situation in Sri Lanka, especially with the eye on outbound? I know the whole market may be closed at the moment, the airlines and everything. But what's happening? If you can just share a little bit with us, that'll be wonderful.
Okay, Sanjay. So currently at this particular moment, the Sri Lankan airport is still under lockdown. It's still closed. So there is no possibility for outbound travel for leisure or tourism purposes. There is a discussion with the government and the regulatory authorities in looking at possible opening dates. We are very hopeful for that, and Ethan Spence also represents. Our managing director sits in the Slido as well. So we've made certain recommendations to the governing body, and we are trying to look at making the correct recommendations in consultation with all stakeholders of the industry, where travel would be much safer for people when it is ready, when everybody is ready to travel, and we take all due precautions prior to opening up the airport. And the country also is positioned in a manner where it can cater to the outbound as well as to the inbound travelers who are waiting to go and discover the Sri Lankans who are waiting to step out of the country, who's still under lockdown, and some of them feeling so stressed out. And on the other side, where foreign travelers who are waiting to come visit our beautiful country here in Sri Lanka. So it works both ways, but we are very hopeful currently that the airport would open up very soon. From the current situation, the discussions, it should be very soon, but there is nothing concrete and positive right now. Many proposals and recommendations have been made to the government and the tourism ministry. So we are waiting the outcome of it right now.
Thank you, Zarin. Charmaine, I understand the person who speaks first says the most important thing, doesn't leave few things to you. So, do you want to add something to it? Because then I will come to you with my first question. So, if you want to
Of
add.
course, yeah. So, I mean, agree with Zahreen and everything she said. I mean, we are all facing this current situation. What I want to mention is that concerning traveler behavior, is that travelers are definitely concerned. They are also frustrated for being locked down or being limited to their homes and localities. So they don't want to move about and experience the world, but they're definitely concerned, and they'll definitely take into consideration the safety measures and the special arrangements that we would make for them to ensure that they don't get caught with an infection or have to go through an inconvenience while traveling.
Thanks, Charmaine. It seems like you were reading my mind, because that was the question I was going to ask you first, the first question, but point taken. So my first question still remains the same. I'm going to change it a bit. Tell us, what is the travel behavior in your market? Is it changing? Are people trying to look at domestic travel at the moment and then later on go for overseas travel? What is their behavior at the moment? What's the pattern at the moment, Charmaine?
Okay, so just like I said, as we are currently on partial lockdown, just Colombo being locked down, and it's our second experience sort of being confined to our homes, and the just going out for necessities. So as soon as the first lockdown ended, it was very clear that people really wanted to go out, and yes, so people did travel a lot uh, on domestic tours, holidays, going to hotels, just a different scenery, just a change of experience to what they had gone through, which was not normal, nothing they had experienced before. Yes, so domestic tourism is happening at the moment. It's limited due to the second lockdown, but definitely, yes, was very much very popular compared to how it was before.
But do you think there will be any change in their pattern when they start traveling overseas, or they will still travel as they traveled earlier?
We do have a lot of loyal clients who travel frequently with us, saying, "Okay, when do you think this is going to start? How soon do you think the airport's going to open?" And so we do get occasional calls here and there, but for sure, everyone's really concerned, especially about international travel, having to travel in an aircraft and then go through transit. So this is a concern, and for a lot of us, it's going to be a new experience. So until we do sort of pass that hurdle, it's going to be a question mark for everybody. But I suppose we, as people who are in the industry, we need to make it possible for them to experience that and get that fear out.
Point taken. Zareen, I'm going to come to you now. I really need to ask you. We talked about everybody's talking about this so-called new normal, and things are changing, and how hygiene becomes a very, very important thing. Safety becomes a very thing. But now, my question really is understanding this and keeping in mind the way the behavior, or if I may use the word revenge tourism, is going to take place, because people really would like to travel a lot. Are there any changes you're making or incorporating in your products or in your offering, in your itineraries, or are they the same? What are the changes you're putting into them to build that confidence with your corporates or with your clients, so that they feel secure?
Thanks, Sanjit. I would like to just spin off a little bit on what Sham and share a little experience in what Aitken Spence did during when we came off the first lockdown. The challenge was to cater to the local demand and domestic tourism. We did certain things differently. We realized that when you package excursions with accommodation options slightly differently, giving the locals a better experience, we kind of mirrored what we were doing with the outbound in the local market here, and we found that it took off quite well. It had a very good takeoff. It had a very good acceptance in the local market. People were traveling with us. That actually helped us as a travel company to sustain ourselves, even though we were under lockdown, and we came out and have certain numbers when we didn't have foreigners coming into the country as well, because Aitken Spence is an inbound as well as an outbound organization, so we cater to both markets. But we managed to make use of the release of after the first lockdown. We managed to cater to the market, and we realized that there was a good demand for it. Now, taking the learnings of that, we've been for the outbound market promoting Spain. We have been we've been focusing more towards the incentive market. But what we also realized was that some other learnings we've learned of the domestic market, domestic tourism, promoting it, will and can have an effect when we are back and ready to promote outbound tourism. So that's something we are going to keep an eye on, and we will most certainly definitely use the learning because, of course, back again, then we will be dealing with the Sri Lankans who are willing to travel, segmenting, identifying the correct traveler, and that market will be very useful and helpful, because Spain is not a very popular destination when you say amongst the masses. You've got to have a certain, Spain is a very, how can I say it? It's a little bit of a more upmarket destination. So if you have a visa from one of the Schengen countries, right, it adds value to your status, to your passport. It enhances the traveler's profile per se, So it's very important, because when we've been promoting Spain, we've been promoting it not as a budget or local lower end, but it's more towards the high end traveler base. So it's very important for us to take the learnings from here, wrap the whole thing once again, repackage it, and then position outbound travel. So yes, we will take the learnings of the domestic tourism, the positives of it, and when everybody is ready to travel, we will be using those as well. So we've been also constantly in touch with our customers, our corporates, keeping them regularly updated with what's happening in the world, what's happening, keeping them, giving them positive vibes, positive thoughts, sharing the good things about our outbound destinations that we constantly promote, so that you're not out of sight is out of mind. So we made sure that we are not out of sight and we are not out of mind from our potential customers.
Zareen, point very well taken. But I'm going to stay, since you're on this question, I'm going to stay on this with you for a minute. My point to you is that, of course, you mentioned about Spain and you mentioned it's a long haul thing. Do you think in the next year, that's 2021, 20 is over, and I think all of us want to forget 2020. But my point to you is, in 2021, do you think Spain will be able to get the numbers which it had in the last year or two, or you think it'll take some more time? What's
It
your
will, my feel is it will take some time because Spain is a long haul destination for Sri Lankans. Once again, and the vaccination will play a huge role. The airlines, their policies and their the new norms that they would introduce to passengers would come into play, and that should be and could be and have to be taken into account. So these are things that we need to keep in mind, prior to, promising numbers. But, as a travel agent, we will definitely keep our customer at the top of our mind, because customer safety would be our number one priority.
Fair enough. Shamin, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to move on a little bit. I want to ask you really is that what's your opinion, especially when it comes to Spain and the other markets? This crisis which is happening at the moment, will it really impact the pricing? The question over here is that the hotels, some of them we hear are actually reducing the prices, but then they also have to build in element of doing much more work to make sure that the customer is safe. So the hygiene levels, everything has to be redone at a different level. So the point is, everybody talks about the recovery. They say it's going to be a V-shaped recovery. Some are debating it could be a U-shaped recovery. So I'm not getting into that, but I just want to say, what is your opinion in terms of the pricing of the packages, about the hotels, about the airlines, especially what do you want from Spain, from the Spanish? Do you want a reduced price? And do you think you will be able to offer that to your market? Or what's your take on this?
Yes, Sanjit. So, as you know, we are majority of our clients are price driven. So, of course, price plays a huge role. However, as you mentioned, but I just want to go back to what Zahareen said. Spain is not a destination that most our clients in Sri Lanka, most of them haven't been to Spain yet on a tour. So in the last 6-7 years, we've seen a lot of people traveling to Central Europe, to Paris, to Rome. I mean, these are the must destinations as a, in terms of a client. So Spain is for more upmarket clients, as Zaharin mentioned, and it's an upmarket product. And of course, people who travel go there for to experience the entire destination, the different aspects of the country, not just Barcelona or Madrid, but to go around, to go to the islands. The expectations are high. So in this case, of course, I think customers are aware that Spain comes at a price as well. Yes, offering attractive prices would definitely help, because the crisis also has affected everybody economically. I mean, economically, the countries are affected, individuals are affected. So if we are to promote Spain as a tourism destination, packages and prices should be attractive. Also, this depends on the type of services the airlines offer. As you know, flights to Spain have been quite expensive even in the past compared to the other European destinations. So price will play a huge role, but people who would want to come to Spain would know that they are paying for a much better experience than going elsewhere. If that answers your question.
No, so what you're saying is you want lower prices for Spain, definitely, for your customers to go because they have economically taken a beating. So that would help to get the whole thing done. Well, fair enough. If that's what you're looking at, I agree with you. Now, I'm going to move ahead on this. Now, let's travel to the MICE market, which everybody looks at from South Asia. So, Zareen, I'm going to ask you. What in your opinion, because everybody, one person takes a decision as far as MICE is concerned, and you have 50, 100 people traveling on that. What in your opinion is the outbound for MICE going to happen? Will that happen in the kind of this thing? Especially, I want to link it to long haul and especially to Spain. What do you think was going to really happen?
In the immediate run, Sanjit, it's going to take a beating. It's going to be a challenge for us in Sri Lanka to promote Spain for the MICE market because domestically, many industries have been hit. So, overseas travel will be not on their priority list, right? And many organizations, many companies that we promote MICE destinations have, they did make use of just after the first lockdown was released to make use of that, interim period to use local tours for their to manage their sales staff and managers and all that. That being said, it will be a challenge. It definitely will be a challenge in promoting Spain for the MICE market. But that being said, we as a travel company, we will always look at managing our partners as well because it's important for us to maintain our relationship with Spain. And as I'm not very sure whether you are aware of it, our chairman's wife is actually she's part and parcel of the consulate office in Sri Lanka. So Mrs. Jayawardena, so it's important for us to maintain our ties and relationship with Spain. So we will do everything possible within our purview in order to promote and keep the ties as well as the interest levels always at the top of the minds of the potential client.
So what, if I get you correctly, is you're saying MICE will take time to really grow. Would that be a year or so, 2021, 2022? What's your, sorry, I'm not asking you to predict it, but just give us an idea. You think next year, 2022, would MICE really take off to Europe and to Spain and other places? What do you
Yes,
think?
we believe so because as I said when I began, the airport first needs to open up. So that everything traveling out of the country will depend on the airport and the rules that the government and the tourism authority is going to bring in and impose on the travelers. So MICE then will definitely it will have that impact to the MICE community as well because MICE is always a group of people traveling together and then we will be pitching it to organizations. So it's critical of these external decisions which will have a huge impact in us securing MICE numbers. So yes, it will take a little bit time from what's happening currently. 2021 latter part is what we would say.
Point well taken. Charmaine, I'm coming to you now. Let's stick to the airport part of it, which is very important. And I want to really talk about charters and everything. If I remember, I remember that Sri Lanka is putting up a special airport for charter planes to come in and take off kind of situation. So you're doing a lot for charters to come into Sri Lanka. But now my question is, when you're looking at outbound, the charters sometimes I feel are much more reasonable compared to regular flights and all that to go to a particular destination. So what do you think? Are you ready to take charters out of the country for MICE movements or for people to travel, especially to Europe and Spain and other countries? What do you think is going to happen?
Sanjit, about charters, of course, for MICE movements, I think at the moment, there have not been any charters for outbound due to the current situation in the country and of course globally. However, if a charter does take place, it would be for MICE. However, it would be a long shot again because until things improve and until the first step is taken for outbound, like the airport being opened and people taking that first chance and traveling out, until that happens, it's going to be a little difficult to say. But of course, yes, if charters do happen, it would be for the purpose of MICE mainly.
Okay, I like to stay with you, Shamin, and I actually want to come to my last question. Really, if you ask me, is let's stick to mice for the time being. And I'm saying, what are the challenges which you are facing at the moment, Shamin, in terms of restarting? Are you looking at some challenges for mice to restart mice from Sri Lanka, not necessarily into Europe and Spain, but generally, are there any challenges you are facing at the moment, which you can share with us?
Right. So, as Zaharin mentioned, Sanjit, what happens is most of the corporates have looked at domestic um, movement I mean, because they have an year-on-year plan when it comes to their different plans for the companies, for their customers and corporates. So, they've continued with whatever possible at this point of time domestically, but for international travel, it's going to take some time. However, what happens is, I think in the future, we will also have this challenge where corporates would sort of cut down on their budgets for international travel. And then companies facing crisis in terms of, being able to offer incentive tours to their employees or customers or whoever. So this is going to be a challenge for us. It's going to affect us. And they would initially look at traveling domestically, and then they'll look at the more Asian based destinations, so that it's definitely beneficial in terms of pricing. However, of course, our corporates do have different tiers, like where depending on the type of achievement the incentive earners achieve. So depending on that, they could of course have different types of travel where they can focus also towards Europe, but it all depends on the kind of measures that will be available through airlines and other the destinations. I really wanted to mention about quarantine laws. Now we still don't know clearly what are the laws that differ from destination to destination. Also, this adds on the cost of getting quarantine, PCR tests. When we offer incentives, like especially MICE travel, we try to give a price where all services are included, where guests don't have to pay on arrival for certain things. So when you're packaging a MICE product, it'll differ from destination to destination, different rules and regulations. So this is going to be a big challenge for us.
So what you're saying is, I understand that. So that means if you are quarantined, that's going to be a big challenge for the mice group, because if a few
Of
people
course.
right, I understand. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to now move on to Zareen. Let's talk about the same problems. Are you facing some challenges vis-a-vis not mice? Let's talk about the leisure market and leisure market to Southeast Asia or to South Asia or to Europe and Spain in particular. So, what are the challenges you're facing, which you can share with us?
Okay, so I would just like to add one more point to what Shamin added, is that if Spain is looking at operating a charter, that will be superb. That will be wonderful news, because charter operations have never happened direct from Sri Lanka. So that might be actually a good positive ticket in Sri Lanka for us to actually pitch the destination and promote the destination. It would definitely be a positive in promoting the destination, because we handle a lot of charter flights inbound, but we've never had the situation where a charter flight is operated from Sri Lanka to a particular destination. So that's a good news. That's good news if Spanish tourism is going to actually work on that. Because as you may not be aware, but getting a Schengen visa or for Sri Lankans to get a visa is very challenging from here to Spain or to any European country. So, but if you do get the Schengen visa, that also opens up our possibilities of promoting other European destinations as well. So that will allow um, Sri Lankans to travel. So it will be definitely a plus and a positive sign where a destination has taken an initiative in driving traffic from a particular source market. So that would be wonderful news. On the other side, yes, we've been challenged. Everybody has been challenged during this lockdown time and the COVID situation. So, the entire business is currently on hold. Nothing is happening. There are no travelers coming in. There is no way of traveling out except for the repatriation flights and, specific scheduled flights in order to facilitate either employers or students per se. So these are the challenges the travel agents are having, and the rules that will be brought in for quarantine will have a huge impact because when we package the MICE packaging for our corporates, one of the things that the companies always make sure is that their guests or their salespeople or their team that they are sending overseas does not have to do any spending overseas. So the price will play a huge role here. We will also be very conscious about it because at the end of the day, if they do not have a good experience, that will be the recipe for a disastrous relationship after that. But so far, we've managed to package Spain with so many interests because, as you know, Sri Lanka is a sports loving nation. We love our cricket. So, whenever we've promoted Spain, we've managed to couple it with football and Barcelona, and the experiences has been great. Then the people who have come back after those tours have been our spokespersons, where they basically, talk about their experience and what they've experienced, what they've seen, and that itself is a positive. So we want to make sure that when our clients do travel, they come back with an absolutely amazing experience that allows us also to then promote the destination much more, and it helps because they themselves promoting, hey, you should take this package because the Aiken Spence did a wonderful job with me and our group. You should make sure you get the Barcelona group also, the tour also included. They do the promotion for us themselves because of the first-hand experience. So it is important if the air corridor is sorted, and if that air corridor is thought into at this particular moment of time, that's absolutely good news for Sri Lankans.
Wonderful. So your biggest challenge at the moment, on a lighter note, is to get your cricket team to play football in Barcelona. Point well. Tell that loud and clear. No, I understand your visas and your air corridor challenges. Bubbles is important, the issue. But now, to end this whole thing, I'll stay with Zarina first. I will let you. No, I'm going to go with Charmaine first because she came in second. So, Charmaine, closing remark, what would you say? What would you like to tell your message or your thing to the travel trade in Spain would be? What would you say they should be really looking at and doing in the Sri Lanka market?
Yes, Sanjit. So, what I would like to tell them is that to come with some unique offers, of course. We would like to promote some new destinations, especially within Spain, something different, unique places where also because we cannot promote a lot of group travel, at least to start with individual travel for FITs give us good properties where people might be concerned we're going into big hotels using the facilities in a big hotel in this current situation. But we can look at maybe smaller properties like boutique hotels. We might be even able to sell apartments where people would be feel safe, but they would still travel to experience the destination culture, to go experience history, learn about history, and of course scenery and everything that Spain has to offer. So come to us with some good offers, of course attractive ones, and be different, so that we can also offer these to our clients. And yes, so that's basically what I want to say, and what I would expect from them.
Perfect. I think that's a good message for the travel trade over there in Spain. And Zarin, I'm coming to you now. What would your message be to them, and how and what they should do in Sri Lanka to get the Sri Lankans traveling to Spain?
Uh, Sanchit, this is the time I actually, I felt I should have gone in first. Actually, Charmaine nailed it exactly to what I had in mind.
Big name.
With the
You said the same thing, so that's why I did the other way around. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yes, yes. So with the COVID, it's traveling is going to be, it's going to face a new norm, right? So taking large groups, unlike in the past, like 15, 25, 30 people together, that's going to be going out of the window, because for us to begin, we will need to tap into the smaller communities, the smaller FIT travelers. So just one family of 4 or 6 would be the ideal pack number. So their experiences, going into Spain and understanding the lifestyle of Spanish people, maybe living with them, using that time instead of being exposed to larger areas, crowded places, pubs and bars, and the entertainment areas and all that. It's going to be that's going to be the new challenge for us. So we will look at the best possible pricing that would be offered to us, because we will need to be different, whilst maintaining the fact that you would be able to tick the boxes of the main places of visiting Spain, just to say, hey, I've done Spain, I've gone to Barcelona, I've checked the football stadium and been to the museum there as well. Apart from that, the little nuances of experiencing and understanding the Spanish culture, the food, those little experiences would add a lot of value in us promoting Spain from as an outbound destination. So yes, we will look out for the best pricing, especially where airlines are concerned. The cost for the airlines, because the ground package usually, when we have taken a 6 night 7 day tour, right, the tour cost is the airline cost, the flight ticket cost is is almost the same price as the tour cost. So that's quite a sizable amount for a local Sri Lankan to spend. But yes, as though even though it is that, I mean, Spain is not a lower end destination that is being promoted, and we pitch it to the higher end. Price will play a matter, and if we get the best deals, we will obviously be happy to work with those agents who would be able to give us unique offers and unique tours and unique experiences of experiencing Spain.
Point very well taken. What I'm going to do, friends, you just heard our experts from Sri Lanka. You heard Zarain from Atkins Spence, and you heard Charmaine, and she's the from Jetwings. You heard what they had to say, and I think we totally agree with what they were mentioning. Of course, the challenges, like what they mentioned about the visas and in terms of pricing, is important, and what they can offer us, what they can offer the market, and especially the air corridors. We talked about the bubbles, which we need to start right away. So these are some of the great learning we getting from them. And they both are saying, they're agreeing on that if we can put this together, they will make their Sri Lankan cricket team play football in Barcelona for sure. So that's something which is very important. So with these words, let's keep ourselves positive. I think we need to remain positive, and we are hoping, since we know the vaccine is should be around the corner, so the light at the tunnel is right there. How long the tunnel is going to be different for different people, but I'm hoping we will all be through that very, very soon, and then things can start all over again in a big way. Thank you, ladies. It was a pleasure talking to both of you and understanding the situation at the moment in your country and what you're trying to look at. And thank you so much. But please keep thinking about Spain and keep looking at Spain. And that's the new normal, what we're going to be doing in the next few days, and keep selling Spain. Thank you so much. Pleasure, and namaste to both of you.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.